Well, that's the problem of censorship and echo chambers, of people just following the same voices, the same ideas, the same kind of viewpoints, just regurgitated to them with different kind of points with them. But essentially, they're just regurgitating the same thing, doubling down and becoming more radicalized. This is why censorship needs to be pushed back at all costs. And I mean, you're here. I have a lot of questions I want to ask you, especially about your algorithm, but we could save that for later.
Let's do it right now. We're talking about, so we were just talking about how Joe Biden can come out and claim the upcoming election is going to be illegitimate. But YouTube bans and censors those conversations. Twitter censored information on Hunter Biden's laptop, which would have changed the results of the election. Facebook did the same thing. You, Andrew, are the CEO of Gab, and I think are you the only social media platform that uses the First Amendment as its rule book?
The only one. We are the only free speech platform.
I think mine does that too.
Do they?
Yeah, First Amendment, and it's based on law in Connecticut, the state where it's incorporated. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, good for both of you.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah, dude.
But so let's break this down. Gab has been attacked. They've tried to shut you down. They've gone after your infrastructure. You have sitting in front of you a pocket Declaration of Independence and Constitution. You say it's if it doesn't, if it's within the First Amendment, people are allowed to say it. Why are these big tech companies trying to take Gab offline?
Right. So we are the most no-platformed, censored, deplatformed, whatever you want to call it, technology startup in history. We've been banned from both app stores because Apple and Google came to me and they demanded that we censor things that they didn't like. And I said, no, absolutely not, because you don't make the same demands of Facebook and Twitter. You can find hate speech on Twitter. You can find hate speech on Facebook. And I'm not going to censor it because you're not making them censor it. Okay. So I refuse to bend the knee, and they banned us from the app stores. They actually banned our entire developer account in Apple's case. We've been banned from banks, Tim. We've been banned from every payment processor. We've been banned from hosting services, right? Email services, about 30 plus different services all in all, right? With all the infrastructure that it requires to run a social media website. So what we've done over the past 5.5 years since I started Gab is we've built our own. People go say, if you don't like it, it's the free market, go build your own. That's exactly what we did. We are the only platform that has done that. All these other platforms that are coming out now, they're saying we're the free speech platform. If you look at where their servers are hosted, they're hosted on Amazon. If you look at who they depend on, it's Apple and Google on the app stores. If you look at their terms of service, they have the exact same terms of service as Facebook, as Twitter. So it's basically Silicon Valley, but with a new logo. Okay, and that's not what we're building.
What about mine? Are they on Amazon?
At the moment, they were on Amazon as of 6 months ago, and I talked to Bill, and he was like, "We're moving off Amazon."
Beautiful.
But I haven't followed up with him since that conversation.
That's the only way forward, is building your own infrastructure, and we've had to build it all. We have our own physical server hardware racks, okay, and we have to physically maintain those and upgrade those and swap out new hard drives and all of that type of stuff, and that is just a massive amount of work.
For what reason? So they say if you don't like Twitter, go make your own, and you did. Right. And then all of a sudden, different companies, seemingly unrelated, started knocking out the support beams from your service.
Right.
I can understand. So you mentioned, Google says, hey, we want you to censor certain things. You said, no, so they ban you. But what about banks? Why would a bank ban you?
Well, they tried attacking us from every different angle. From after 3 weeks after we launched, actually 5.5 years ago, they started with the smear campaign, right? It's alt-right, it's Nazis, it's all this stuff, right? And that didn't work. We kept growing, we kept getting bigger. So then they said, okay, surely if we ban them from the app stores, then they're not going to go anywhere, right? A social network without an app on the app stores, it's dead in the water. And we kept growing. And then we kept growing and growing and growing. And they said, okay, we're going to go after their bank accounts. We're going to go after payment processors. And when they can't process payments, they're done. There's no way a business can exist on the internet without being able to accept credit cards or PayPal or all these major, payment infrastructures. And thanks to stuff like Bitcoin and checks, physical checks that people would mail into our PO box. So we had old technology and new technology. And that is what kept us afloat for an entire year before we were able to build our own payment system and come up with our own solution.
So you're on the forefront in terms of protecting actual free speech, which means you've got probably a lot of detestable conversations and really awful people, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's words on the screen, right?
Yep.
A lot of people that I don't agree with, a lot of people that don't like me, a lot of people that say a lot of nasty things about me and my family, and it's allowed. And that's actually how you know that it's a free speech platform. There's a parody account of me called Andrew Tuba, and I think it's one of the funniest accounts on Gab. It's actually one of my favorite accounts, and maybe they don't know this, but I find it hilarious because you see that, and that is allowed on there. You could find stuff like that on there, even about me, the founder, the owner, right?
I really don't know if I should bring it up, but people have mentioned that posts critical of the Getter crew have been removed. Is that
Absolutely
true?
false. No,
That's false.
Absolutely false.
Getter didn't do any of that stuff.
No, absolutely not. Oh, they're
No.
removing it, or we are?
No. I've heard that on Getter.
Oh yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
People have questioned Getter.
I thought you were saying we were doing that. I was like, no, what?
No.
No.
Is that true though?
No,
'Cause
what
I
I've
saw
heard-
people chatting it, and I want to be careful because if I can't prove it, I don't want to bring it up.
No,
That's why I'm reticent.
what I've heard is anybody that's critical of Miles, their billionaire, their Chinese billionaire, who's behind it.
We had the conversation about Fuentes the other day with the CEO of Getter, and I don't want to drag a specific platform into this, but considering Jason Miller was just here, and it's very obvious to everybody, I didn't find his response adequate on what rule was broken by Nick Fuentes. Look, man, my position has always been this. Oliver Darcy of CNN interviewed me in 2018 when they started banning the alt-right from Twitter, and I said it's a dangerous precedent. We always have been, as and I'm going to say as liberals in this country, because I grew up in Chicago, up in the city, I've always been left-leaning. We're always about free speech. And then all of a sudden, Twitter's like, we're banning only this group of people. And I'm like, if they're not threatening violence, if they're not targeting people, even to a certain degree, an argument about harassment, I'd be willing to accept. You just don't like their opinions? Well, I don't like their opinions either. Argue them. Like the ACLU, when they defended really awful people in Skokie, Illinois, in that famous story. Now they're all not doing it. They're backing away. They're all going full authoritarian. So my position has always been, I recognize nasty people say nasty things. I think we agree on that. But when he says, Jason Miller, we didn't want to service his group. The problem he brought up, he opened the door for Getter. The problem was he basically said Black Lives Matter, all banned. Critical race theorists, all banned. Modern progressives, all banned. All of these prominent left-wing personalities. What's that lady's name? Jamil or something?
Yeah.
Is she that actress woman?
Yeah, she was on.
She's banned.
Yeah.
She's banned. She posts a ton of racist stuff.
Oh yeah.
If Getter wants to have that standard, then the crazy thing about this is the modern right in this country today is posting Martin Luther King Jr. quotes. They don't want people to be judged on the color of their skin. But if you come out like Miller did and say we're not going to allow anyone who breaks that rule, it's like, okay, well that means the modern Republican Party is going to be on the platform, the Democrats won't be.
Right. Nicholas J. Fuentes is the canary in the coal mine with censorship. I mean, this kid is 23 years old. He has a live stream from his parents' house, and he can't get on a plane because of his political opinion. He can't access, he's probably just as banned as we are in terms of platforms. Now, of course, you can find him on Gab, unlike Getter. And, Jason's answer is just totally unacceptable. You look at Getter's terms of service, and they ban hate speech, and they make these arbitrary decisions like banning Nick Fuentes and banning people like John Miller even, with no reason and no recourse and no adjudication. And then they claim to be a free speech platform. It's a joke.
I didn't like it when I asked him what, Luke asked him what rule was broken specifically.
Well, the terms and service,
right?
Because he has a list and a number. I was like, give me the list. Tell me exactly.
And he didn't have one.
He did clarify there's a difference between terms of service and community guidelines, which for me, there's not at Minds. For me, I base my community guidelines were the terms of service, but I understand how you could have two different things. At least that was his response. That's what I got from that.
What worried me the most
community
was
guidelines were violated. I don't know.
It sounded like they were just Twitter, but a little bit better.
Right.
A little bit better. And so there's still the inherent problem that the reason they banned Nick Fuentes is because the media said bad things about him.
Right.
Look, for all I know, what the media claims about him was true, for all I know. However, I don't really trust the media, so I'm not going to just blindly be like, oh, okay, you banned him because CNN wrote an article. I'm going to be like, you're going to have to show me some hard proof because the media doesn't have any credibility right now. He didn't have it. He couldn't give me a specific example. He couldn't give me, there was not even a philosophical reason. It was just, Fuentes said something about who are groypers here. And so then I asked him what a groyper was, and he didn't seem to know that either. And so my view is if you're going to ban someone, stand by it, be proud of it, and not be able to explain what went wrong. How am I supposed to trust your platform?
If he had come out and said, we banned him because we believe that Apple and Google would remove us from the stores if we had him on the platform, I would have respected that, right? But, Jason is a political strategist. That's what he does. He's not a technologist. He doesn't know how to run a social media company. And frankly, he's in over his head. I think it's obvious after last night, right? What these people are doing is they're really trying to subvert the work that I've been doing for 5.5 years and the work that we've been doing at Gab. And it's us versus the billionaires. So, you have Miles Gao, who is the Chinese billionaire behind Getter. You have Peter Thiel, who's behind Rumble. And you have Rebecca Mercer and the Mercer family, who's behind Parler.
What about Minds?
They're
Aaron.
Yeah, that's
Aaron.
it.
Yeah, we got.
You guys are independent. You did crowdfunding as
Yeah,
well.
we started
Yep.
from the beginning with nothing, and then John came in. Bill's dad is half
Right.
owner of the company, and the three of us.
It's a family business, just like us. Yep, exactly.
Mines does have a big.
Mine's has
investment.
taken investments in the past. We got a 10 million about 2 years ago from the dude that. I don't know how. Is it all public information? I don't know if I can
think it
talk
is,
about
yeah.
the names and all that. But he basically built the games that Yahoo bought in like 2000 to create Yahoo Games. So
Right.
that guy came in. We had the guy from Overstock.
He's a
previous
billionaire,
owner,
isn't he?
had
Right,
come in
right.
with $6 million about 4 years ago. But that's, I think, other than that, it's just we crowdfunded $1 million.
Yeah, so that's what we did. We did regulation crowdfunding. So our users, a nice chunk of our users are actually stockholders in Gab. So they have a piece of the pie, and they're our biggest advocates, right? And outside of that, we're funded by our Gab Pro subscriptions, merchandise, stuff like this hat, and we now have advertisement. But we're not tracking you creepily like Facebook and stuff.
Did you guys ever have any big funders coming your way and try to say, hey, we're going to give you this money if you do this? And are you willing or able to disclose the largest kind of funder? Is there one guy who's like a millionaire that gave you guys $1 million? Or you don't have to answer it, but I'm just curious.
I think our average investment was $1,000 for our regulation crowdfunding offerings. We did have a few bigger angel investors who, and by the way, all these people are users on the site who put in, I think, maybe $100,000 or something as a part of that overall round of crowdfunding. But anybody was able to invest, I think, as low as $200. This was back in 2017, 2018. We have had people that have come to me and have tried to tempt me with money. Absolutely. I've had, big hedge fund guys and a lot of names that a lot of people would recognize if I said them. I'm not going to do that. But, essentially the deal was you have to start banning certain things and you have to start doing things a little bit differently. And we have to pivot on certain things. And I said, unacceptable, because the thing that I'm not doing this for money. This is my life's work. I am doing this so that when my children get older, they have the ability to speak freely on the internet. I want to ensure that my kids have the same, and your kids, by the way, and your kids have the same freedoms that we all grew up with in this country. That is why I do what I do, period.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.